Hello everyone, and welcome to another video, where today we're going to be talking about the second most optimal time to take out invasive species. In fact, in terms of the general community as a whole, this is probably actually the best time to take out invasive species. I've talked about the first most optimal time before, and that's when the plant is just about to leaf out in the spring. This makes an ideal time because the plant is working on only stored energy, and it's put a lot of energy into the new buds. So if you cut it off at the root, you've wasted all that energy and it might not have enough to survive. And if it does survive, chances are it might get outcompeted by things that are living around it. The second most optimal time, arguably more important, is when the plant is flowering. Now this time is important even if you really wanted to get all of the invasive species the first time when they're trying to leaf out. This is because invariably you're gonna miss a spot. This is a Multiflora Rose plant, and it's currently the worst invasive species on the property. I tried my best to get rid of as many as possible continuously, not even really adhering to the most optimal times, because in all honesty, even if I can knock them down a peg, it makes a difference. You try as much as you can, but you can never really get all of them. However, they don't do a very good job of hiding once this phase rolls around. From far away, the white roses of the Multiflora Rose might look similar to native species like this Allegheny blackberry, but once you get up close, it really has no similarities with any flowering plants that are native. Most notably, the petals of the Allegheny blackberry, which is the only thing flowering at the same time, are much, much thinner and longer. In contrast, Multiflora Rose petals are much more heart-shaped and smaller. But what's even more important is that these flowering individuals that eventually go to fruit are the real problem. A single rose plant that just exists without flowering or fruiting and producing more offspring isn't really a problem. The problem is that a single Multiflora rose bush, which is probably only 1 to 2 years old at this point, can produce something to the tune of 1,000 seeds, and given that they outcompete things in their area, given that they're invasive, those seeds are almost always viable, it seems, and given that they have so much of a head start, they can outcompete other native plants. And while I'm not 100% sure about this, I am fairly certain that most of the seeds are spread within the community. So it then stands that if you kill all the flowering plants, or at least attempt to, it really, really kneecaps the ability for these plants to spread in whatever area you're trying to control. In addition to potentially helping out other areas, unfortunately, I'm a bit skeptic to that. I think the plants in those areas will pick up the slack. And the good news is that if you cut this plant out now, it'll likely regrow, but it won't be able to produce any flowers until next year. Apparently that's something that's true of most perennial plants. Well, that's all for today. I hope this video might inspire you to take a look at some invasive species in your area and think about controlling them yourself. However, be patient and start early, because I don't think anyone, including myself, is going to be rid of these things anytime soon. On that note, I do plan to do more videos on this plant in particular. It has many uses, and it annoys me greatly because it accounts for probably 90 to 95% of all the thorn, scratch, and stab wounds I have. Overall, I hope you guys learned something and enjoyed. See ya.